The macro environment. Macroeconomics is the external analysis of the structure, behavior, and decision-making of economies as a whole, rather than individual markets. The macro environment is the economy as a whole. It covers all factors affecting an organization indirectly. Macro environments are concerned with complete national economy and international economic systems as a whole. It examines phenomena such as changes in unemployment, national income, rates of growth, domestic product, inflation, and price levels. The objectives of macroeconomics are to achieve full employment, growth in national income, real economic growth, price stability, and a balance between exports and imports. External analysis is used to evaluate environmental influences on an organization's profitability. Once an organization has worked out its place in the market, it can focus on the development of appropriate strategies. Terms you should be aware of when discussing macroeconomics. Factors affecting macroeconomic outputs, which is gross domestic product and gross national product, are consumer expenditure, investment expenditure, government expenditure, and balance of payments. Consumption is based on consumers' consumption. It is determined by household incomes, the rate of tax, and the proportion of household income that is saved. Investment is business investment in capital items. Government spending refers to the likes of spending on infrastructure, salaries of public servants, military purchases, and any investment expenditure made by the government. Balance of payments represents the difference between an economy's net import and export values. If exports are more than imports, then the balance of payments will be positive. If imports are more than exports, then the balance of payments will be negative. Gross domestic product is the market value of all goods and services produced within a country in a given time period. It can be measured as all expenditure used to buy goods and services produced, or as all income earned from the production of goods and services. Gross domestic product equals consumption plus investment plus government spending plus balance of payments. Economic growth may be measured by the increase in the real gross national product per head of the population. The principle being high gross domestic product leads to improved business activity. Aggregate demand is an economy's overall demand for goods and services. The formula for aggregate demand is consumer spending plus investment by firms plus government spending plus demand for exports less demand for imports. Changes in aggregate demand need to be taken into consideration when forecasting sales. The more stable a government, the easier it is for organizations to plan. Income and expenditure flows. This is the circular flow of income in an economy. The circular flow of income is a model of the economy in which the major exchanges are represented as flows of money, goods, and services between economic agents. The flows of money and goods exchanged in a closed circuit and correspond in value but run in the opposite direction. With this image of the circular flow of income, we are assuming the economy has two sectors, firms and households. We need to add investment expenditure, government spending, and the balance of payments to the diagram. Gross national product, on the other hand, is the gross national product, which is the total value of goods produced and services provided by a country during 1 year, equal to gross domestic product plus the net income from foreign investments. Gross national product equals consumption plus investment plus government spending plus balance of payments plus net income receipts minus net payment outflow. The business cycle. The business cycle is the peaks and troughs in economic activity that an economy experiences over a period of time. It is basically defined in terms of a period of expansion or recession. The phases of the business cycle are boom, recession, depression, recovery. Boom economy is an economy which is reaching its full capacity. It is a period of rapid economic expansion resulting in higher gross domestic production, lower unemployment, and rising inflation. Booms often lead to supply and demand shortages, which are often met by higher prices rather than more production. Bust economy is the opposite of a boom economy. Economic growth decreases rapidly in a bust economy. Recession. This is where there is falling demand in the economy. As household consumption decreases, organizations scale down their outputs to match demand. This can lead to rising unemployment levels. A recession definition is a fall in a country's gross domestic product rate for 2 or more consecutive quarters. Slump or depression is a sustained long-term downturn in the economy. Aggregate demand is low. Long-term low consumer consumption leads to low business confidence and high unemployment. Economic recovery. Recovery can be brought about through new technology entering the market, success of economic policies, increased volumes of investment, increased labour supply, rise in international trade, and the discovery of natural resources, to name but a few examples. It is where economic aggregate demand is increasing. This leads to higher business confidence, which in turn can lead to businesses starting to invest in the future, increasing employment, and rising household incomes. Economic stagnation is a prolonged period of slow economic growth, measured in gross national product, usually accompanied by high levels of unemployment. Trade cycle. This is a series of fluctuations in the rate of growth adjusted for inflation for gross domestic production over its long-term trend. PESTEL analysis is a good way to look at macroeconomics in general. PESTEL analysis is an external analysis that looks at the macro environment and its influence over organizational performance. It stands for political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal influence. You may also see the PESTEL analysis referred to as the PEST analysis. This is where environmental analysis is combined with social analysis and legal analysis is combined with political analysis. Political factors. These factors determine the extent to which the government may influence the economy or a certain industry. They are the role the government plays in the economy, covering political systems and ideologies. The addition or removal of political regulation constraints can pose major strategic threats or advantages for an organization. Some examples of political factors are tax policies, stability of government, government expenditure levels, foreign trade regulations. Economic factors. These factors are determinants of an economic's performance that directly impacts an organization and have resonating long-term effects. Economies are rarely in a stable state. This is due to changing economic factors such as investment levels, inflation, saving levels, consumer confidence, interest rates, and exchange rate fluctuations. Government's aim with regards to macroeconomic policy is to provide full employment, price stability or low inflation, economic growth, balance of payments, which is the difference between a country's imports and exports, and the appropriate distribution of income and wealth. The focus of macroeconomic policy is on the country's overall demand for national product, which is its outputs of goods and services. The supply of factors of production, which are labour, land, capital and entrepreneurship, government policy and national expenditure. Impact of economic factors, for example, are the likes of monetary policies, fiscal policies, inflation and unemployment. Social factors. These factors scrutinize the social environment of the market. They are known as demographic changes and looks at the changes in the population of a country. Social influences, for example, the likes of population demographics, distribution of wealth, education levels, changes in lifestyles and trends. Technological factors. These factors pertain to innovations in technology that may affect the operations of an industry or a market favourably or unfavourably. Technological influences, for example, the likes of speed of technological transfer, rate of obsolescence, new technological platforms. Environmental factors. These factors include all those that influence or are determined by the surrounding environment. These are relatively new considerations for organizations. Effectively, they are green issues. Environmental influences like environmental protection legislation. Legal factors. The addition or removal of legislative constraints can pose major strategic threats or advantages for an organization. Organizations need to know what changes in legislation are possible and what their impact will be. Government's legal systems relating to businesses provide a framework for organizations to do business. This framework provides organizations with stable conditions in which business can operate with confidence. Legal influences, for example, the likes of data protection law, consumer law, contract law, employment law, and health and safety law. SWOT Analysis. SWOT Analysis is a strategic analysis tool used to assess a company's present situation in the marketplace. It is another method of external analysis. It can be used to set critical success factors and key performance indicators. SWOT analysis helps an organization understand its environment and capabilities through the use of internally and externally generated information, which is both financial and non-financial in nature. With SWOT analysis and corporate appraisal, an organization's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats are ascertained. An organization wants to capitalize on strengths, shore up weaknesses, invest in opportunities, and identify threats. An organization's strengths are its skills and capabilities. What an organization is good at. What resources and competencies does the organization excel at? What the organization does well that its competitors cannot? An organization's major successes. What is the organization's unique selling point? What factor means that an organization gets that sale? Capitalizing on strengths. Strengths can be matched to opportunities. For example, if you have a particular strength that matches with a new industry opportunity, then it should be relatively easy for you to enter that industry and achieve a high market share. An organization's weakness are what an organization is poor at, what needs to be improved, the things it is not doing but should be, where resources are in short supply, an organization's major failures. Shore up weaknesses. weaknesses can be converted into opportunities. This can be done by identifying critical success factors and key performance indicators. For example, if you are weak in an activity vital for a new industry opportunity, you can decide not to pursue this opportunity, or you can design critical success factors and key performance indicators around improvement in the area of your weakness, allowing you to enter the industry and compete successfully. An organization's opportunities are events or changes in an organization's external environment that can be exploited. They are things that are likely to go well in the future. Invest in opportunities. Once opportunities are identified, an organization can develop strategies to exploit these opportunities. An organization's threats are events or changes in an organization's external environment that must be defended against. They are things that are likely to go bad in the future. Identify threats. An organization can look for strategies that uses strengths to overcome threats. With SWOT analysis, always ask, what does this mean for the business? Identifying strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats on their own is useless without analysis. Strengths and weaknesses are internal environments, which are within the control of the organization. Opportunities and threats are external environments which are not within the control of the organization, but which can be impacted upon by the organization. Remember, with SWOT analysis, always ask, what does this mean for the organization? SWOT analysis is used by organizations to better understand its environment and its internal capabilities. This better understanding helps with strategic planning and improved organizational performance. What makes SWOT analysis particularly powerful is that it helps a strategic planner uncover opportunities that are well placed to be exploited. And by understanding the weaknesses of your organization, the strategic planner can manage and eliminate threats that would otherwise catch the organization unawares. SWOT analysis can be used to craft strategies that help distinguish an organization from its competitors, so that it can compete successfully in a marketplace. The questions to ask with SWOT analysis are: strengths and opportunities. How can an organization use its strengths to take advantage of its opportunities? Strengths and threats. How can an organization take advantage of its strengths to avoid real and potential threats? Weaknesses and opportunities. How can an organization use its opportunities to overcome any weaknesses it's experiencing? Weaknesses and threats. How can an organization minimize its weaknesses and avoid threats? For more A to Z business terminology, visit my website. If you found this video helpful, please let me know.